Minister Modi meets the members of the JP Morgan International Council in New Delhi. The council meets in India for the first time after 2007. Prime Minister Modi discusses the vision for making India a $5 trillion economy by 2024. India's strategic capability gets a further boost. The Indian Air Force successfully tests two Brahmos surface-to-surface missiles, hitting the targets 300 kilometers away with pinpoint accuracy. Security forces gunned down 3 terrorists in Pulwama. Huge cache of arms and ammunition recovered. Major breakthrough in the Kamlesh Tiwari murder case. Gujarat ATS nabs two suspected killers from Gujarat-Rajasthan border. Russia and Turkey strike deal to jointly remove the Kurdish fighters along Turkey's border in northern Syria. The deal underlines the changes in the region since US President Donald Trump announced the withdrawal of the US troops from Syria. Saurav Ganguly to take over as 39th President of the BCCI. It will end 33-month reign of the Supreme Court appointed Committee of Administrators. Hello and welcome. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli. Top story: Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the JP Morgan International Council in New Delhi yesterday. After 2007, this was the first time that the International Council met in India. And while welcoming the group to India, Prime Minister Modi discussed his vision for making India a $5 trillion economy by 2024. He said the development of the world-class physical infrastructure and improvements in affordable healthcare and providing quality education were some other policy priorities for the government. Prime Minister Modi added that people's participation remained a guiding tenet of policy making for the government. On the foreign policy front, India continued to work together with strategic partners and close neighbors to build a fair and equitable multipolar world order. Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee also met Prime Minister Modi. The Prime Minister tweeted he had an excellent meeting with Nobel laureate Abhijit Banerjee and praised his passion towards human empowerment. Banerjee said he was privileged to have met the Prime Minister and called it a unique experience for him.
It was a privilege to have this meeting with the PM. The PM was kind enough to give me quite a lot of time and to talk a lot about his way of thinking about India, which was quite unique because, you know, one hears about policies, but one rarely hears about the thinking behind it. And he talked about the way he sees governance in particular and why, some sense, maybe the mistrust of the people on the ground colors our governance and how it therefore creates structures of kind of elite control over the governance process, not a responsive government. And in that process, he also, I think, very nicely explained how he's trying to reform the bureaucracy to make it more responsive, to understand the ways in which people's views need to be taken into account, expose them more to the reality on the ground. And that, I thought, was, I think it's a very important point for India to create a bureaucracy that actually lives on the ground and gets its stimulus from how life is on the ground. And without that, we get an unresponsive government. So thank you, PM. That was a unique experience for me.
Union Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar today said that the enumeration of tigers was difficult 20 years back, but now the government of India has made it possible. He said this while delivering the keynote address at the inaugural session of the 4th Steering Committee meeting of the Global Snow Leopard and the Ecosystem Protection Program at Vigyan Bhavan. The minister said that the government has started thinking about green economy and green pathways in the snow leopard areas in the Himalayan ranges. He also released 2 books on the occasion.
Enumeration of tigers was a difficult thing 20 years ago, but we made it possible, and now we have counted to the last digit, and this year India is having 2,967 tigers, 77% of the world's tiger population. Then we can think of capacity building, because I believe in training, continuous training. And we have to also start thinking of livelihood, but also start thinking about green economy and the green pathway even in the snow leopard areas in Himalayan range, and cross-country cooperation. That is the basis for all these range countries.
2 Brahmos surface-to-surface missile tests were conducted at Thrak Island in the Andaman Nicobar group of islands over the last 2 days. The Indian Air Force in a statement said that the twin firings were carried out as a part of the routine operational training on 21st and 22nd October. The Indian Air Force also said that the missile engaged the designated mock targets close to 300 kilometers away, and a direct hit on the target was achieved in both the cases. In news now from Jammu and Kashmir, where 3 terrorists were gunned down in an encounter with security forces in the Rajpura-Avantipura area in Pulwama district last evening. Security officials said the 3 terrorist bodies were retrieved and their identity was being ascertained. Huge cache of arms and ammunition has also been recovered. In a big announcement, the Modi government has said that all the government employees of the Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh will get financial facilities as per the 7th Pay Commission's recommendation from 31st of this month. The decision will help over 4.5 lakh government employees of these Union Territories. The government will bear around 4,800 crore rupees worth of costs due to the implementation of the 7th Pay Commission in the Union Territories. And the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has also approved the proposal to pay all other allowances, including the children education allowance, the transport allowance, the LTC, and the fixed medical allowance to these employees, the government has stated. President Ramnath Kovind will travel in a bullet train at the Tokyo station today. He will also attend the unveiling ceremony of Shri Satya Sai Sanatan Sanskruti project. The President will undertake a guided tour of the project site and Sai no Sato facilities. Later in the evening, he will attend the banquet to be hosted by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Yesterday, President Kovind had addressed the Indian community in Tokyo. He said their hard work and success had brought laurels and praise for India. He also highlighted the ties between the 2 nations and described Japan as elite partner in transforming the Indian economy.
Our bilateral ties with Japan today is counted amongst our foremost relations. Our strategic, political, security and economic collaboration has achieved a new high. Japan is a lead partner for us in transforming our economy. Their participation in the high-speed rail project from Mumbai to Ahmedabad is a symbol of our deep mutual trust and friendship.
The regional Met Office in Chennai has forecast more rainfall across the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu following the formation of a new weather system in the Bay of Bengal of the South Andhra North Tamil Nadu coast. The department has forecast heavy to very heavy rainfall in several districts for the next 3 days. In the last 24 hours, heavy rainfall was recorded in some areas of Ramanathapuram, Dharmapuri and Thanjavur district. On Monday, the department sounded a red alert in the western districts of the state in the wake of the formation of a low-pressure system in the Arabian Sea. Overnight rain and waterlogging affected the vehicular movement on several roads in Chennai. The authorities in the western districts of Nilgiris, Coimbatore and Thennai besides Dindigul were advised by the Met Office in Chennai to be prepared for extremely heavy rain. Meanwhile, Chief Minister E.K. Palaniswamy held a review meeting yesterday with the senior officials of the various departments to review the state's preparedness for the northeast monsoon. And following this, the state government sanctioned 40 crore rupees to purchase additional equipment and machinery to immediately tackle the monsoon fallout. And recovering from the intense damages due to heavy floods across North Karnataka region almost a month ago, Karnataka is yet again gripped with the fear of floods, with heavy rains lashing regions in central Karnataka and the north interior Karnataka. According to the Indian Met Department, the intense rainfall activity is likely to continue all through this week, bringing heavy showers. This morning, around 5:30, 4 engineering teams of the Indian Army have been activated for Raichur district with the flood relief and rehabilitation material, including the boats. Further teams are also on a standby for other districts as well. In some other news now, the Gujarat ATS has arrested 2 men wanted in connection with the murder of Kamlesh Tiwari. The accused Ashfaq Sheikh and Moinuddin Pathan were absconding since Tiwari's brutal killing in Lucknow. Both the accused have been arrested from Shamla near the Gujarat-Rajasthan border and will be handed over to the Uttar Pradesh police after completing the formalities. Meanwhile, a local court late last night remanded 3 persons who were arrested from Surat on Friday in connection with the case to 14 days judicial custody. The 3 suspects include Maulana Mohsin Sheikh, Faizan and Rashid Pathan. Vision is not required to spread light all around, as the Festival of Lights Deepavali is all about celebrating the life that we all have. Trained in candle making, the visually impaired students of Jeevan Jyoti School in Varanasi are all decked up and excited for this Diwali. They are making candles, lamps and decorative items to sell in the local market. Painting the diyas with colors and glitters, the money raised will be used for the upkeeping of their school. And the Dubai Duty Free celebrated the Festival of Lights Diwali at the Dubai International Airport yesterday with a special reception attended by the Indian Consul General to Dubai. To mark the festivities, Kathak dance was performed by the dance group Ocean Kids to welcome the guests. And to beat the Diwali rush on Dhanteras, people have already started buying jewelry and other ornaments. It is believed that buying valuable products like ornaments, gemstones and metal household products on Dhanteras brings wealth and prosperity at home. Dhanteras is one of the major Hindu festivals associated with wealth and prosperity. This year, Dhanteras will be celebrated on Friday. It also marks the first day of the Deepavali celebrations. To encourage self-employment among youth of the country, the government is running the Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program. Under the scheme, the government provides a loan of up to 25 lakh rupees to establish a manufacturing plant and up to 10 lakh rupees to invest in the services sector. Harsha from Aravali district in Gujarat has availed the loan facility under the scheme. Let's see this ground report from Gujarat.
Harsh Shah has installed a machine with loan of 25 lakh rupees that he availed under Union Government's Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program. He is using the machine to manufacture multi-grain cutlery such as spoons, forks and bowls. Harsh Shah uses raw material of multi-grains like wheat, corn and flour of other grains, which makes it biodegradable and eco-friendly.
पीएमईजीपी गवर्नमेंट की जो प्रधानमंत्री की योजना है उसने हमें बहुत अच्छा सपोर्ट दिया और हमें मेंटली इतना प्रिपेयर किया कि हम जो इनोवेशन करने जा रहे उसमें फाइनेंशियली बहुत सपोर्ट की ज़रूरत थी और गवर्नमेंट की ये स्कीम ने हमने बहुत सपोर्ट किया.
Since it is a multi-grain product, customers can also eat it and it will not be harmful if they are eaten by cattle. This is how he is also contributing towards the protection of the environment.
सारे प्रोडक्ट्स ऐसे हैं कि जो नेचुरल इंग्रेडिएंट्स से बने हैं उसमें व्हीट फ्लोर का यूज़ हुआ है तो मतलब हम डायरेक्टली खेडूतों से मतलब फार्मर्स से जो गेहूं वगैरह परचेज कर रहे हैं और इसमें मैक्सिमम जो रॉ मटेरियल है वो व्हीट फ्लोर है और इसमें भी अलग अलग फ्लेवर्स में हम बनाने जा रहे हैं. और दूसरी चीज कि हम इसमें कहीं पे भी प्लास्टिक का यूज नहीं कर रहे, उसका पैकिंग भी हमने पेपर बैग्स में पैक किया है.
With such products, youths like Harsh Shah are contributing to environmental protection and also creating employment opportunities. Bureau Report, DD News.
Cine enthusiasts will have a treat at the 50th International Film Festival of India as the IFFI has announced to screen some of the best cinema produced in the Hindi film industry. The open screening at Goa will feature classic comedies from Padosan to Andaz Apna Apna to big blockbusters like Gully Boy and Uri the Surgical Strike. On the theme, The Joy of Cinema, a total of 14 movies will be screened at two venues, that's Joggers Park Altino and Miramar Beach in Goa from 21st November to 27th November. This year, Dadasaheb Phalke Award winner Amitabh Bachchan's selected 7 to 8 films will also be showcased at the movie gala. Open-air screenings will be open to everyone and will not require any registration. The entry would also be free for all. IFFI celebrates its Golden Jubilee edition from 20th to 28th November this year. Moving on now, Bangladesh Navy has detained 14 Indian fishermen along with a trawler from the Fairway Buoy area of the Bay of Bengal for allegedly intruding into the Bangladesh maritime territory. A patrol team of Bangladesh Navy detained the fishermen yesterday morning. They were later handed over to the Mongla police station. With this, a total of 63 Indian fishermen have been detained from the Fairway Buoy area in the last 23 days. And more news from around the world. Turkey and Russia have agreed to remove the Syrian Kurdish YPG militia to beyond 30 kilometers from the Turkish border, after which their troops will jointly patrol a narrow strip of land in the safe zone that Ankara has long sought in northern Syria. This afternoon, the Russian military police and the Syrian border guards will move in to facilitate the removal of the YPG members and weapons to beyond the zone in a mission that should take about 6 days according to a deal. Speaking at a joint news conference with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, the Turkish President Erdogan said that Turkish and Russian troops would conduct joint patrols in northern Syria within 10 kilometers of the border. The YPG, which led the Kurdish SDF forces that for years were US's allies in the fight against the Islamic State, will also leave the towns of Tel Rifat and Manbij under the deal struck between Erdogan and the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Russia's Sochi resort on the Black Sea. And the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has made a rare visit to a front line of Syria's conflict. He toured an area in the war-torn northwestern Idlib province close to the last major bastion of Turkey-backed rebel forces. The Russian President Vladimir Putin discussed the situation in northern Syria in a phone call yesterday with Assad. Putin told Assad that any agreement between Turkey and Russia will focus on fighting all kinds of terror and dismantle any separatist agendas on the Syrian land. Assad also reassured Putin his complete refusal of any invasion of Syrian land under any pretext, adding that Syria will continue to fight terrorism on Syrian land by all legitimate means. And thousands of Syrian Kurds waited in the refugee camps in neighboring Iraq on Tuesday, having fled across the border in hope of escaping the violence of the sudden Turkish cross-border offensive. According to the UN, around 80,000 children alone have been uprooted. Only around 7,100 Syrian Kurds have made it over the border to neighboring Iraq. The rest are stuck mostly in Kurdish-run Syrian towns like Hasaka. Much of the northeast was controlled by the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, whose main opponent is the YPG militia, seen by Turkey as a terror group because of its links to Kurdish insurgents in the southeast Turkey. As the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson loses a crucial vote in Parliament on the timetable for departure, the European Council President Donald Tusk has recommended that the other 27 member states of the European Union approve a delay in Britain's departure date. The MPs had yesterday voted to reject the Brexit bill 3-day timetable by 322 votes to 308. The MPs backed the withdrawal agreement bill, but minutes later voted against the timetable, leaving it in limbo. The next step, Prime Minister Johnson said, would be waiting for the European Union to respond to a request to delay the 31st October Brexit date, which he reluctantly sent to Brussels on Saturday after being forced to do so by the lawmakers. One of India's most decorated captains, Sourav Ganguly, will be taking over as 39th president of the BCCI today at its annual general meeting, ending a tumultuous 33-month reign of the Supreme Court appointed the Committee of Administrators. Ganguly is the unanimous nomination for the post of the BCCI president. In more sports news, in the French Open badminton tournament, Saina Nehwal and Parupalli Kashyap will be in action in the respective first-round matches. Yesterday, star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu advanced to the second round after defeating Canada's Michelle Lee in the first round. Sindhu defeated Lee in straight games 21-15, 21-13. The 24-year-old was relentless in the first game and she ended up winning it in just 20 minutes. Shubhankar Dey notched up an upset win over Tommy Sugiarto of Indonesia to advance to the men's singles second round. The world number 42 Indian rallied to beat his world number 17 opponent 15-21, 21-14, 21-17 in an hour and 18 minutes first round match in the BWF Super 750 tournament. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. Thanks for being with us.